All right, what's up everyone? Just after the time change on March 12th, 3 a.m., I was actually trying to get on right as the time changed. Piss poor planning. Got on a minute too late. Actually, I was having trouble getting my setup straight. Stupid phone holder. Here's what we're doing. Taylor, you and I were talking about this just a couple weeks ago. With that conversation, what I decided to do was to go ahead and purchase this kit so I can go ahead and take a look at some cards, see if it really does have any impact. I watched a lot of Kurt's videos. I'll show his channel so you could check that out. He's obviously more of the authority on it. He developed the stuff. He's got tons of videos on it. I've watched some of the stuff just to see how to use it and everything and see how it worked out for him. Taylor, when we were having that conversation, then it sparked something in my head to go ahead and try it for myself. $50 delivered for this. Shipping was reasonable. I think it took maybe 4 or 5 days after I ordered it for it to arrive. In anticipation of getting it, I've been stacking up these cards here that I've received that had some kind of minor surface damage. It's said to be able to help with things like minor scratches, minor print lines, things like that. Major print lines and things like that, you may not be as successful. But let's get into the kit real quick, see what's in here. Again, $50, Kurt's Card Care. I know there was some debate about this. Extreme Card Breaks brought this topic up several weeks ago. It was probably a month ago. So we've got a little mat here that Kurt included. It's just a mat that he likes to put the cards on. I've got a nice mat here that I can use, so I may not use the mat. He's got his corner tool here, which he describes as a way to kind of massage, actually, that he talks about in terms of being able to help get rounded out corners or slightly rounded out a little bit sharper. Probably not going to be using this because all of the cards I have are modern cards and most of them are chrome based, so I'm not really going to have any corner issues.
I developed this here so I can hold like a pencil so it feels natural. And I'm just gonna almost like paint the corner and just slowly work it back into place. I'm just gonna smooth it, just keep on soft. Just like I'm shaping the corner back in.
This is your Kurt's Card Care spray, cleaner, you would call it. So that is something you would use for taking off fingerprints off of cards and things like that, smudges. That obviously is something that can be done as well with just a microfiber and not using the spray, in my experience. This is the polish itself right here. This is the microfiber that's included. It's got a place where you stick your fingers, so pot holder for your fingers. I believe these are cotton based here. These are the ones you use with the spray to go ahead and get the fingerprints off and everything. These here are used in conjunction with the polish. Get a little bit on one of these and kind of just rub it in a circular motion onto the card. I'll demonstrate that here shortly. Microfiber cloth. This polish is said to be all natural.
All new. Tastefully done.
That's what he talks about in this video in terms of one of the selling points. For sake of this video right now, some of this stuff we're not going to be using, so I'll just leave it in there. Mainly, we're going to be looking at trying to work on some surface issues on a few of these cards, like I said. So $50, there you go. I was watching this other gentleman who was talking about Kurt's and having picked it up. And prior to that, he was saying he was just using some kind of turtle wax. Oh, car wax, right? I will try to go back and find that video.
Before I found Kurt's stuff, I was actually using McGuire's rubbing compound. That works really well too. Probably a little bit more abrasive, but it works. It doesn't deter any of the grading companies from grading it. And before, like I said, I used Kurt's stuff. I was using Turtle Wax Ice, the polish spray, and that works really well. Or you can just use Windex. Windex leaves a nice streak-free shine on your card, but there you go. A little bit of Kurt's polish spray.
Don't take what I'm saying as the gospel. It's just according to the guy. He was using turtle wax. Wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off.
All right, so let's get into some examples. Now, I don't know how many of these I'm going to do. I don't want to make this video too long, but I wanted to at least do a few cards. We got this Varus Shimmer Mojo. He's got a couple surface scratches right there on his pant leg. You see it, one right below the light and then another one right below. Additionally, I see some minor spotting. This might be harder to see right there by his bulilit, and a couple other little minor spots on the card. So let's go ahead and get some of this wax out and see what happens. So he was saying you just kind of go in a circular motion, and he was saying you don't need a ton of it, and it doesn't need to sit on the card for that long. Definitely you don't want to practice or do this your first time on high value cards. So that's about all you need right there. A light little circular motions. Again, just like a car. I let that sit for a little bit. I'll go ahead and wipe that off. You can see a little bit of residue there. Maybe, not really. When he was doing his thing, all right, we'll switch camera angles. He was actually wearing gloves when he was doing this. All right, looks like there's still some wax. In his videos, I saw him using a penny sleeve. If you're not wearing gloves, right, to keep the prints off. He also recommended making sure you don't get the wax on the numbers. And this is to be used with these kind of chrome based cards as well, not paper cards. All right, let's take a look. All right, got all of the wax off. Let's see what we got. And I would say don't leave this wax on that long. It'll kind of adhere to the card. So there you see, scratches are still there, and then you see that dot still on his Disney. User error probably. So let's go ahead and do another round of this. Sometimes I've seen his videos where they don't come off right away, or the scratches don't kind of come out right away. So you have to go in and use a second coat of it. Let's go ahead and try another application and see what happens. All right, round 2. Go ahead and focus on that leg right there. Last time we went up and put some all up in here. Let's just kind of keep it focused on the leg and then the other area where there was a little bit of a blemish. All right. All right, you saw real time there. I let the video run so you'd see how long I left it on. And that was just not more than a few seconds, right? So here we go. There you go. You see the scratches are still there and that dot is still there. Now I picked this card out because I felt like it was an example of maybe something where the scratches weren't too deep. Apparently I was wrong. Let's go ahead and try a different example. All right, this Ellie Mojo has what seems to be a little bit of a lighter scratch. It's not picking up here. Let me try the other angle, see if we can get it to pick up there. It should be right near his elbow. It's hard to identify that one really as a scratch because it's really light. Right there by where my finger is. You see that? I tried to grab one that had a little bit lighter of a scratch this time. See that? Barely anything, right? So that we can test and see if it can hit things that are even like that, like barely noticeable. And that's with zooming in, you know, using a magnifying glass, the bright light and everything. We saw that it didn't really work for the Varus. Do a little bit here, right below the elbow. I did see kind of like a little bit of a spot over here near his belt as well. Didn't really pick up on camera. That's why I'm going over that whole area right there. All right, that should be good. I was just taking a look to make sure I had some polish on there. You can see it there. Now there is that conversation to be had. Taylor and I were having that conversation. He was of the mindset of being totally against it. So again, that's kind of what precipitated me trying to take a look at this. What I was telling him was I felt like if it were a situation where somebody used it and the card was sent in and graded, then I wouldn't have an issue with it. But if it's a raw card, perhaps where you weren't told that it was used, then that might be a situation where you might have issues with it, because I've heard that PSA has been able to identify it. See, you can see the scratch still there. Point it out with my finger right there. But we don't give up easy. Let's try one more time. So if it's a situation where this stuff was used and you get the card, and of course the seller's not going to disclose that it was used, but you get the card, for instance, and you send it in, and then you get it back and somehow there was some residue on the surface, or somehow the grading company was able to spot that you used the stuff and they sent it back as ungradable evidence of whatever they'd want to call that, then that would be problematic. If you sent this card in and then you get it back and it's not graded, you might be wondering just what the heck went on with it. So when you're talking about a situation like that, then that kind of opens up something. If there is indeed that ability for grading card companies to, or the individual grader, to notice that a card has some substance on it. I mean, but if a card has substance on it, then that's a problem. Because you should be checking your cards before you submit them anyway. So let's take a look at with the magnifying glass real quick. All right, still there. Right there again, you can see. So that's 2 rounds of that one. I don't know how much lighter of a surface scratch on a card I can find. And that was a really faint example. Let me try another one. Just do a chrome this time, not a mojo. All right, so we've got our example here. This card has all kinds of print lines on it. You see along the side here, very faint. And then of course you see that print line running across the card, and you see a ton of them. Actually, I was going to go on the side here, but let's keep the focus near the face because you can see a lot there. So right up in this face, you can see, what is that? Layered, was that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, too many to count. So let's go ahead and focus right there and see what we can do with this. So with this stuff, you know, just kind of getting a little bit on there like that. That's probably a little bit too much. I'm supposed to have a game today, again, Sunday, but rained out again. So I always tell myself, especially these past 2 games that have been rained out, that if we do get a rain out, I want to do something video-wise to feel productive. So once I saw the game was rained out, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this Kurt's Card Care video. I've had the kit for about a week, just haven't had time to shoot it. Probably have this up a few days after I shoot it for you all. We'll get to play eventually, but in the meantime, it's the stuff I do here. Exploring, doing what I do for the masses. All right, so there you go. You see the polish on it. Get our little penny sleeve here. Oh, pardon me. Have to use it properly. Have to put the fingers in there like the oven mitt. Got a little bit of polish on there still. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. There you see. You can see some of the wax here. So I left it on a little bit too long. That's what I've noticed. If you leave it on even a few seconds too long, it'll be difficult to get off. So you want to put this stuff on and take it off right away. But there you go. Look, still there. I don't see any improvement. It looks to be still the same. Let's go ahead and try one more, because you know how it is. You gotta do it twice. Can't just do it once and then consider it an L. Look, I can see me in the card right there. Hello. Yep, that's me. Just went ahead again and went all the way across the card. Go ahead and get that off real quick. Looks like we got all the residue off this time. So you see how quickly I went on and off with it? That'd be my suggestion. So you see there, print lining still there. In fairness though, those print lines were a little heavy. So let's try something. Try to find a card where the print lines are a little less heavy, hopefully. All right, I think this is the last one I'm going to try if we don't have any success. All right, you see here, got this Cabrera Mojo print lining right there across his eyes. And it runs all the way across. Is there anything below? No. Okay, so we'll just focus on that one print line right there. Oh, there's one above here on his bat too. So let's go ahead and take a look at that one as well. So you got the bat, and then you got the one over here near his face. Supposedly this guy's 18 at the time I'm shooting this video. So again, just grab a little bit out of here. Got some on the side from when I had excess before. Penny sleeve, if you want to make sure you don't get any fingerprints on it, just go ahead and rub that in. Like I was talking about where he said don't get it near the numbering on a numbered card. Cover that with a penny sleeve as well if you're going to try it on a numbered card. And obviously the recommendation is to warm up on some lower end cards first before you get into the big boys. All right, so let's get this off. All right, let me take a look real quick with the magnifying glass. All right, I still see print lines here. Let me show you the other angle. If this stuff doesn't work, at least it might help my hair a little bit. Jeez, might have some value in that regard. All right, there it goes. You see it there, right? Still across his face there. Let's check the bat, if I can line that up for you guys. See it there still across the bat as well. All right, let's try one more coat and then I think we're ready to be done with this. All right, make sure you get it off there real quick. Take a look. All right, I still see the print lining there. Okay. All right, I'm not going to totally call this a bust just yet because perhaps there's some user error there, because in the videos I've seen of other people using it, they've had results. So let me wrap this video up for now. I'm going to go watch some more videos and see if I'm doing something wrong. And then if I am doing something wrong and it's on me, then I'll go ahead and make a second part to this video. So thanks for watching this part, everybody. And if I do see that there's some kind of user error, like I said, I'll shoot a second video, but then I'll come back at the end of this and talk about what I saw and what I noticed that I was potentially doing wrong, because I don't want to just leave it like this if there was something that I was doing wrong. If you don't see anything right after this outro, then just assume that I couldn't figure anything out and maybe I just got a bad match. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care and be well. The only add-on I had at the end of the video was that in some of the videos I watched, he would actually go over the card 4 or 5 different times, hitting it with the polish over and over again to try to get the scratches out if they didn't come out the first couple rounds with the polish. So there'll be a second part to the video, and I'll pick out some cards and I'll go over them like 4 or 5 different times with the polish if the scratches or print lines don't come out the first or second time.